Hello and welcome back. Uh-oh.
We dance to the beat of a drum that goes on and on and on.
Like I said in my last video, I'm going to start doing more random topics on my YouTube channel, just chatting about different things that are important to me or questions that keep coming up. Today I want to talk about why I don't drink alcohol. I am an Irish woman of 31 years old, I'm not an alcoholic, and I do not drink alcohol. I haven't drunk a drop of alcohol in over a year. I think my 30th birthday was the last time that I remember drinking in any kind of active way, like having more than a few drinks. After that I know I had one glass of wine, but we'll get to that a little bit later on. So I wanted to give you a little bit of background. My family is not a family of big drinkers. My dad never goes to the pub, and if somebody goes to the pub like from work or with his friends, he just wouldn't go. He has no interest in drinking, it's not his thing. My mom is the same, wouldn't go to the pub except for a sandwich at lunchtime, has no interest in drinking. If either of them drink, it's a couple of glasses of wine with dinner, and I can count on one hand, I'd say, the number of times I've seen either of them drunk in my life. So drinking would not be a big thing in my family. I have one sister. She drinks, the same amount as any other Irish person drinks. She would drink on a night out. She would drink wine with dinner. Nobody is like exceptionally hugely into drink, but at the same time, we're Irish. So I guess alcohol is kind of a big thing in all of our lives, whether we like it or not. I started drinking quite young, when I was 14. I remember, I think the first time I ever drank alcohol was in a field in the village near where I lived. I went with 3 or 4 of my friends and we drank cans of Bulmers. I think I probably had a can and a half and then felt absolutely pissed, and I remember being caught by the guards. And that's not even what put me off alcohol, but that was so embarrassing, and I think they called my parents. Like, nothing happened, but I was so afraid for ages that I was going to get a letter through the door about a court case, or that I was going to have a criminal record for drinking in a field. How embarrassing. Nothing came of it. I'm sure the guards were just laughing their heads off at these kids with like 6 cans between them. But my parents were alerted. I was totally mortified, and I think I probably didn't drink for another year after that. I think the next times that I remember drinking were, surprise, surprise, going to Wesley. And we would have a sneaky little drink on the bus, and we would basically have a negative vodka between, again, 3 of us. We would feel absolutely pissed. Then growing up, I guess I kind of had an on-off love affair with alcohol. Like anyone else, I would drink on a night out, but most of my alcohol memories, to be honest, are bad. So I remember one night we went to a friend's 21st, and I had been seeing this guy that I really, really liked, and he'd broken things off with me maybe a month before that. And it was the next time that I was going to see him, and I was feeling really nervous and I was really hassled about it. So a friend and I decided we would go early and we would go to the pub next door, have a few drinks for courage, and then go to the party. And to say I got drunk, well, the 2 of us got so drunk, I ended up probably having fights with everyone. I think I remember asking the guy that I used to date if he wanted to dance, and when he said no, I got so pissed off. And I also remember asking a friend of mine if she would dance with me, and she kind of did that thing where she went, no, really, like, you're way too drunk, like, no, I'm a bit embarrassed. And I, recognizing what she was doing but also being too drunk to stop myself, went, fine, and like threw this. It kind of goes down in history as the time I threw a chair at Roisin, but I didn't throw it. I don't think I threw it at her. I think I more like pushed it in her direction rather violently, but I didn't pick it up and like hurl it across the room. So later on that night, when my mom came and collected us, my friend who had gone with me to the pub part beforehand and got really drunk, and she'd fallen asleep and I'd fallen over. I'd also fallen over. So that was another disaster. I'd fallen over. I was wearing these really high pointy-toed black knee-high boots, and I slipped on the dance floor and did that thing as well where I was like, I'm fine, and like stormed into the bathroom. And me and my friend ended up having a roaring fight, a huge fight. And by the time my mom collected us, we were both sitting outside the pub, bawling our heads off and holding hands. At least I was 21 at that point. So that wasn't like a 16-year-old me story. But you know, for all of the bad memories I have with drink where I feel like I got too drunk and most definitely did not throw a chair but may have pushed a chair in Roisin's direction. Yeah, there definitely have been nights that I've gone out, got absolutely pissed, and just had the best time and the most fun. When you're drinking and you're going out with everyone else who's drinking, you're all on the same wavelength. And I think that is really important. It's something that I do really, really miss about drinking. And as well as that, I miss the wine. I used to order a case of mixed reds from Curious Wines. This is not an ad, but they're amazing. I think they're based in Cork. But I used to order a mixed case of reds and really liked kind of discovering new red wines that I liked and didn't like. And everything had really interesting packaging. Now that sounds silly, but that's kind of how I choose wine, because I don't really have a clue what I'm talking about, but I love to look at like really interesting labels, and these were all so cool. So I used to love that. Breaking open a really good bottle of wine and having it with my dinner, like nothing better. And that's before we even get to the cocktails. I also used to love going to the Vintage Cocktail Club, which probably opened about a year before I gave up drinking, so I did not have enough time in there. But they do some of the best cocktails in Dublin, and it's such a nice atmosphere, it's such a cool place. It feels like you're kind of stepping back in time. Anyway, I gave up drinking after my 30th birthday, which pretty much means that I had 15 at least really good years of drinking, and years that I enjoyed and didn't enjoy. When I decided to give up, it was kind of a culmination of a few different things. So I had been diagnosed with depression, which I talk about in my other video, which you can watch back if you like. And I know that when you're suffering from depression and you're on antidepressants, there are certain antidepressants that you're not supposed to drink with because it makes them slightly less effective. And there are other ones that you're kind of okay to drink with, but it might affect your brain in slightly different ways. So I had always kind of had a few drinks when I was on antidepressants. Like, I wouldn't have drunk a huge amount anyway, so I would have gone out maybe once a month and got pissed and maybe had 2 or 3 bottles of wine in between then, like over different nights. So there were certain antidepressants that I was on that I found it didn't really affect me. But there was the hangover. And that's something that we all just kind of accept as part and parcel of life, that it's like if you're the kind of person who goes out and goes drinking, your Sunday is gone. But for me, if I had a day where I was really, really hungover and I felt really bad, I felt really awful, I would eat really badly, and it would really, really affect me psychologically, so that then I would have 2 or 3 days where I was like, oh my god, am I going into like a slump? Is my depression getting worse? Am I ever going to get out of this? That it would all just seem catastrophized. And that's maybe the type of personality that I have as well, that I will take everything to the worst possible conclusion. But that was something that I really worried about. It really felt like the end of the world to me. So I was kind of on the fence about drinking. When I went on my most recent medication, I was feeling really good. Like, they say it takes 3 months for it to affect you, but I think within about 2 months I was feeling so much better. And then there was a night that I had my aunt and uncle and my mum and my dad over for dinner, and we sat down and we had dinner, and I decided to break open a bottle of wine. I think it was one from Curious Wines, and I had one glass and I just suddenly felt really like woozy. And I think I've spent so many years feeling very powerless about what my brain and what my moods have been doing to me. And I think there was just this moment where I went, I'm actually done feeling like that. That when I had this glass of wine and I suddenly felt really shaky, that I was like, this is a stupid thing to be doing. Like, I have enough things to be dealing with. And that was the last drink that I've ever had. And like I say, that was over a year ago. And I don't know if I will stay off drink forever. I don't really miss it hugely, but it does change how I socialize. So I don't really go on big nights out anymore unless it's like an occasion. And when I do go out, I find it kind of difficult. Like, I can go out for an hour or two, and after that I'm like, oh, I actually just need to go home. I'm really impatient. And also I find people get a bit uncomfortable around you if you're not drinking. Like, they think that you're going to remember everything, or they think that you're judging them, and they'll kind of go, hang on, are you not drinking? Are you staying sober this whole time? I feel a bit like it makes other people uncomfortable too, but that's an excuse, because honestly I'm happy to go home at 11:30. I'm like, I'm tired, you're all getting a bit drunk and annoying, and I'm not the like super fun person who's dancing. I did a hip hop class a couple of weeks ago for the first time, and I realised that up until that point I probably hadn't danced in definitely over a year, which is really weird because I used to love dancing when I had that little bit of extra confidence that alcohol gave me, that I would be happy to get up and out on the dance floor. So I'm not like a happy transformative story that I'm going, I gave up drinking and I found my confidence. Like, I didn't. I gave up drinking and I accepted the fact that I may never be that super confident dance floor person, and I'm kind of okay with that. It's definitely not going to be for everyone, and I think living in Ireland, it is really difficult to not drink. Not only do you get people asking you all the time why you don't drink and kind of looking at you like, is there something you're not like, no, I'm not pregnant, watch my YouTube video, or are you on antibiotics, or, you know, oh, were you out last night? Other times that it's awkward when you're toasting. Like, apparently it's bad luck to toast with water, but where does that leave people who don't drink? And I don't drink fizzy drinks anymore because I'm exceptionally boring now. So all I drink is water or fizzy water or coffee. And you can't toast with any of those drinks. So you're just left out of the toast and you look really, really awkward. Or else you do it with your water and you risk the bad luck. I suspect sometimes that I don't get invited to things because people know I don't drink. I used to find that slightly offensive. And then I realised that actually if you invited me out for drinks on Friday night, I wouldn't go anyway. I don't need you to pay lip service to our friendship by pretending to invite me to something that you know I'm not going to go to anyway. Like, that's okay. Don't invite me and we'll have brunch on Sunday instead. I love brunch. And I will say the huge plus point is you never have hangovers. But a last word of warning. Just like giving up smoking, giving up drinking will not make you richer. I do not have the money that I would spend on drink. I don't know where it goes, but I have found a way to spend it anyway. Story of my life. I hope you liked this video. If you want to see more content like this of me chatting randomly about random topics that people ask me about, please hit subscribe, thumbs up. I am working on my Feminism 101 video. That is in the works, but I think it's one that's going to require a few little notes so that I don't trip myself up. But please, if you have any suggestions, if there's anything you'd like me to talk about, blog about, snap about, tweet about, I am yours. let me know.
So